Welcome to the Elemental Lifestyle Podcast. We are in our third year. I am Katrina, your host, and I am excited for today's conversation. As always, over the last 3 years, we've had rich, deep conversations with many different people from all around the world. And you're welcome to go to all of those podcasts and see which title draws you in. And today I'm really excited about our conversation here with Nick. Nick, welcome to the podcast.
Katrina, honored to be here. Everybody watching later, thank you for sitting with us in this moment. Even though it's a recording, we appreciate you, and we're going to bring you some of the elemental wisdom that we commonly share. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're here, Nick, because what I want to express and share here is the place of connection and community. And water is connecting us all. You and I have been having conversations on Clubhouse. We're holding that space of every day, Monday through Friday at 12:12. And that's Pacific time. So we're holding these conversations about water. So you can join us as well if that's a space as a listener here from the podcast, or if you're seeing this as a video, you can join us. So this is a space where we're holding the energy of water. And so both in the spiritual and physical. Nick, when I connected with you 2 months ago, I knew it. I was like, there's the energy that radiated from your Facebook. I knew I had to reach out to you. I knew I had to have a conversation with you. And so the reason why I'm wanting and desiring to have your voice shared here today is because there is a strong connection that you have with water that's changing the way the world is. You're doing the commitment of the work to being connected with water. We've had conversations around alchemy, around sustainability, around diving into the deep water, the cold ocean. I think of the octopus teacher. You are connected to foraging, to these places of the spiritual concepts of water, the physical in the way that you are connected with Kangen, which is a water, amazing water that we can all drink in our own homes. And so this is a powerful conversation today. I just want to offer how I connected with you. And I knew in a moment, an instant, that I had to have this conversation. And I'm so glad that we have continued that conversation. So yeah, today, I want to hear your voice with what it is that water wants to say right now.
Beautiful. What water wants to say right now is how important and powerful intention is, and it always will be. So water has this ability to metaphysically carry codes and carry structures and messages, and this has been proven. This is spiritual. This is a beautiful place where science and spirituality and all these things actually come together. So water wants, everyone says water is life. Water is life. Well, what does that mean? So if you want to learn life and teach life, then water is your greatest teacher. And we all know the power of intention that is set into the world through a Facebook post, through a post, a picture, our art. So what just percolated for me was water wants to say, your intention matters, and your detail to that intention matters. And I'm sure we'll talk about that more, about actually in the body and drinking as well, but also, you know, in the metaphysical sense.
We've lost our intention with water, haven't we, in some ways? And coming back to that intention. So when you were saying that, Nick, I went to the place of 5 years ago when I was playing in the river. The water invited me to play. It invited me to play in a way that I hadn't played. And I didn't know how to play. I had forgotten how to play. And I just did a podcast with another person, with Jonathan. We were talking about play. When we align with our intention, we align with water, we align with money, we align with currency, we align with source, we align with water. Again, it's about the alignment with water, isn't it?
Which is ultimately, yeah, which is ultimately ourselves. And obviously our bodies are made up of water, our brains are made up of water, our lungs, the fluidity of the feminine that needs to be balanced in all of us. You know, alignment is another amazing term, which is very similar to intention, right? So a lot of beautiful practices that we have as humans with play, with movement, you know, that brings a fluidity to our life. And I think that fluidity and flow and those analogies, which we can get into, can help us, you know, bring those analogies in to allowing money, into allowing relationships, into allowing those synchronicities and seeing them for truly those things. So, you know, obviously the more relationship we have with water within our bodies, and also the time that we're spending in nature around water intentionally, those things are obviously going to show up, and they're going to help us be that. I mean, just think of all the beautiful practices with play and water and fluidity, is, you know, with in Ayurvedic practices and Kundalini, and even in like surfing and yoga, all these beautiful balanced, you know, practices that help bring so much to our life. And I love how you are so graciously talk about this within, you know, the money realm. So I'd love to, you know, we can get into all the analogies of wells and wellness, and you know, when we're dammed up, we have to, you know, there's when we're dammed and blocked, water also has this ability to have momentum and power. It also has this ability to pool and calm. It has this ability to find the path of least resistance, and also has ability to carve our planet. So, you know, so we could get into the geographical powers of water too. So I think bringing those analogies into our life, there's no greater, you know, analogies daily that we can use that have, you know, go with the flow, but also learn how to swim upstream when you need to. All these beautiful analogies that we can bring into our business, relationships, communication. But it still all starts with what we're putting in our bodies, and where we're spending our time intentionally with this element. Yes.
So when you were speaking to the place of the dam, I was thinking, right, immediately I went to the place of like conditioning, right, where we've had conditioning to believe that we have to have these dams. And also, I think there's some, okay, so I just want to bring in that I think there's some confusion about when to create boundaries, right, in our life to allow the flow. And and when we need really strong boundaries, are we is that the dam that we're creating, or is it actually creating a place that allows more flow? I believe that we need boundaries, which affirms that we want the flow. You know, we want to harness that energy of water to bust through those dams that were imprinted onto us, you know, at a younger age or through generations. So the connection with water that you have is showing me, in just the short time that I've had this conversation with you about water, is showing me a deeper level of trust of myself, a deeper knowing that my knowing is beautiful, right? A deeper knowing that what I need to drink, what I need to bathe in, what I need to fill up my well every day with is what I know. I know that, right? We know this. We know we're supposed to drink water that's not in bottles. We're supposed to bathe in water that's not chlorinated with all sorts of things, right? We are meant to be connected with water. You bring me back to my childhood when we drank from the well, when, you know, there was the spring water and that connection. So I am really excited about what wants to happen in this connection with you and how this wants to impact thousands of lives.
That's the intention. Back to the intention, and that intention is what has the power and momentum above it all. And my intention is sovereignty. Period. It's we are connected to we are connected to water. It's the base fundamental. So primally, that's the base fundamental. The man also knows that's the number one way to control us and confuse us. So my intention is really about sovereignty. So, and that has the baseline of that is what you put in your vessel and what becomes your blood and your body and your spirit. This is even gets biblical. You know, very simple teachings of Christ and other great leaders were just really teaching about health, in my opinion and my understanding. And so sovereignty, what that means is we're reclaiming health sovereignty. Maybe not, I'm not a land sovereignty specialist because that's a big topic, but this is about health sovereignty. So the number one thing we can do is understand what it truly feels like to be hydrated, what it truly feels like to know what is the difference between like medicine and poison, like sugar versus a bitter, or like, you know, but sticking to the water theme. And then obviously, you know, what we're bathing in. We all know we jump in the shower and all of a sudden we have all these amazing ideas, and well, what is that? That's grounding. So that's grounding. That's all of a sudden we're negatively charged again. But when you have chlorine and those, you know, things that are happening, if you're a bather, if you're a goddess and you love bathing, you know, we need to be having these conversations about, you know, getting that chlorine out. You know, I learned at a very young age through other mentors and health mentors and alternative people was we often, confusion and sickness and issues actually happen when we believe something to be right, and that's our belief, and it's actually not, and that harms us because our belief is so strong that we actually, so just take bathing for instance. I love bathing, I love this, but you're, technically still parts of that are, overloading your liver, your organs, dealing with this chlorine, dealing with these fluoride issues. So it's a good practice, but we have to fine tune that so that it's a true sovereign practice fully, and water just is in that realm. And I'll just tie this back around to the intention of sovereignty. You can't have health sovereignty without wealth sovereignty. It just doesn't exist. We've all been to those spiritual teachers somewhere where they look terrible, and you're like, but you just read my fortune and it was bang on, but like, what is with your health? And we've all been to super rich people's houses and they're falling apart at the seams. So, it's like, what is that teaching of water? That to have true health sovereignty, you need the health, and you need the wealth, and then you need to balance those. So that if you fall out of balance, okay, back to my health, okay. And that lesson of water, like you were saying with the dam, it's okay to dam it up. It's natural. It's totally natural. A natural way to, you could say that's like pooling resources, right? But then that gets stagnant, and then that's got to go. So that stagnant algae, there might be less oxygen, fish are dying because it's stagnant. That's got to move. So you can use that analogy for money. And we've had amazing conversations with people in Clubhouse about how to move that energy with money, stay in abundant mindset, and we need to learn how to see opportunities like that all the time and step in. And but I'll end it on this: the feminine quality to me is that more pooling, like, okay, let's corral, let's come back, find this balance. And then the momentum is that masculine, okay, dam's open, let's achieve a little bit, let's penetrate, let's find those new pathways. Okay, now comes back to the pooling, maybe a little bit of healing, reflecting, and that can be physical, that can be your business, that can be your relationship, and that ties that in.
Wow. So this is just like a taste for everyone listening. This is a taste of the depth that Nick likes to share within the clubhouse that we have every day. This is the depth that we go to. I can feel all of this as I saw all these images as you were speaking, Nick. And it's that stagnant water, right? It's the ability to say, I want to bring new life into my being, my health, everything, all of it. I want to bring the water, and then to know when to have it slow down, to know when to open it again, to be in that space of water. Sovereignty. That is the reason why I connected with you. I saw that word and I was like, bam. I want to know what that means, and you just summed it up there.
I want to say too, like when I speak of sovereignty, what I'm saying is like sovereignty actually means like reclaim your royalty. It's like kind of what it means. It's like reclaiming my birthrights. I don't want to get confused with royalty meaning like patriarchy. Like, I don't believe in that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying like we're all royalty and then we're way up high. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like royalty meaning like kings and queens that like that like feel their people's pain, like real heroes, not like we're at the top of, and listen to me, I don't mean that. That's not what I mean by sovereignty. So I just want to clarify, like, you know, sovereignty means we are all, sovereignty actually means we're all equal, because if we're all equal beings that possess this as a birthright, then there is no separation and there is no hierarchy system. So it's actually promoting, you know, it's actually promoting equality. So a lot of times people be like, oh, I'll just say, let's reclaim our royalty, and people are like, down with the patriarch, and I'm like, yeah, I agree. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying, like, I'm more of a Robin Hood like style person myself, but so yeah, sovereignty means at all levels of myself, I make my own sovereign decisions. I follow my own intuitions. I am born with these gifts and talents that are unique to me. And then these elements of water, earth, air, fire, these elements can actually help us be our traits, but also bring in these other teachings into our life. So as a grounded Virgo earth sign, I need to have these elements and teachings of water, and that's where the elements come in and shape us as, you know, creative beings, humans, primal people. And I did a post a while ago and I said, is your astrological sign getting in your way? And everyone's like, no, it's who you are, it's who you're supposed to be. And it brought up a lot of things for people. And my whole point was, that's what these elemental teachings teach us as humans. So we are a part of our environment. You know, when the natives stood north and looked north and felt the north wind, they knew that that was time to be stronger and rise up. When the warm winds in the west were blowing, they knew that was time to create art. And so, you know, being sovereign is also understanding those elements, you know, within your life as a, you know, primal humans connected to, you know, our elements, which most of us, which is the unhidden blessing of this last year, to be honest, as people, you know, obviously forced online with this technocracy that's being pushed on us, but also, you know, this ability to like get outside and, you know, distance yourself inside. I live in an area where that's pretty common and normal anyway, but worldly, I think it was some blessings in there. So back to sovereignty, just wanted to clarify, we are all royalty. We all know when we hold something, if it resonates with us. We all live through our senses. So we can never lose that. You have to continue to, and when you're outside in nature a lot, foraging, collecting water, doing all these things, you actually start to realize what instincts actually are. And instincts are something you can't actually be taught. Like, you can't say, I'm going to teach you about instincts. You can't teach an instinct. It's an instinct. So when you're outside doing these things, those develop again. You know, and so I'm just inviting people not to, don't have your technology be that's not your instincts. That's not natural to us as humans. So our instincts, we have to go back to the elements, back to water, and find ways to have it in our life every day as a food, as a nourishment.
So the thing, as you were sharing, what I'm feeling, the place of sovereignty and what you're communicating, and I love it because I talked about this kings and queens thing, and it is about in a master class that I did, it was a dream about our goodness. It is our goodness that wants to come out of us. It is our goodness. It is the king and queen in each of us in each of us that connects us to this place of the water, the empathy, the compassion. And as you were speaking, sovereignty is just about allowing our own connection to source and not blocking it. I mean, really, right? Like we were being told, oh, in so many ways, you need the connection to safety, to all these different things, you know, via this thing or this institute or this religion or whatever, all the different, right? Whereas actually we are so powerful. Our sovereignty is connection to source.
Which is heightened through proper hydration and breath work and these things that we talked about a lot on Clubhouse too, right? So again, you can't just be this spiritual connection to source without the upgrades, right? And water being the baseline of that. Always. I don't care what antioxidant superfood thing you got going. Will always be the fundamental of your human, upgrade. So source, which we talked about a lot on some of the clubhouses, is connection to breath and connection to water, natural environment, but also these minerals, which we all know all the greatest civilizations all had access. They were all growing superfood corn with river silt from the mountains, which now we consume as minerals or ore mist or different things. So we have that, again, we have that birthright to be connected to our higher selves, which you need through minerals, hydration, and these very basic things that we often see as spiritual and esoteric, but they're actually, it's also very centered and earth based. So I think that's why everybody's always seeking for that, those, but you just said that beautifully. Yeah, source. That just clicked for me too.
So when source is abundance. Source can be money. Source is community, right? Source is us allowing and accepting all of that. When you just said something, I wanted to share, and I think this is really important. In my travels abroad, so I was 18 months abroad, and my diet, like, when you're in India, Asia, there's not superfood. There is you get rice, you get naan, you get noodles. There is no store that you can buy these things that we have access to in the States and Canada and Europe. It's not there. And for me, the only thing that I would really say that changed dramatically, I went from a very kind of no grains, not a lot of carbs, kind of paleo-ish diet, and I could not lose some of the weight that I like. And so I went abroad, and within 4 months I had dropped below a weight I had never been. And the only thing that changed really is the water. Like, really. And I think about that. And then I came back to the States. Yeah, I came back to the States. I've been here for a year, and I have not done anything different. And I put on 40 pounds. So what is the underlying theme? It's the water. The water that I'm putting into my body, that I'm exposed to. When I was abroad in Asia, I was swimming in the ocean every day. I was drinking water from you're not supposed to, but I drank their water. Like, I didn't buy bottled water. I'm here in the States and I'm buying bottled water.
Yeah.
So I'm sharing this because I think that this is a place of where I'm finding now this is the work. Like we have a massive place of education here in our blessed countries that are abundant. We need to start shifting this dramatically for the health and sanity of our planet. I mean, oh my God, right? Like, I mean, what was your takeaway from what I was just sharing?
Yeah.
Pointing to the thyroid, but like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I was just saying, yeah, I was thinking about, well, the thyroid, and obviously that has lots to do with water, minerals, and negative ions, ocean, nutrition. But yeah, it's wild how, again, you know, the most basic thing has slipped us the most, but it became toxic because when the man gets his hands on, when capitalism gets its hands on those things, they turn water, they turn tobacco into poison. They turn, you know, there's lots of things. So they take the initial celebratory mead alcohol drinks and they turn it into poison. They take the B vitamin whole grain food, wheat germ, and then they turn it to processed poison. Capitalism has this way to take beautiful things and profit and shelf life, convenience, you know, all these things. And we talked about this, the difference between medicine and a poisonous dose, and the rounded circles of how I just say the man, I mean the machine, the need, the capitalistic, the need to drive and succeed. I just mean like that, product wise, economy wise. So again, you know, we're taking water and we're having these battles around, you know, these natural resources, and yeah, selling water to these other companies, and when it's really like a basic technology that can be supported, but the capitalistic world just finds ways to lobby, finds ways to confuse the consumers, and you know, we've been living through that heavily this last year with what's going on economically, and so again, you just come back to the basic teachings of water, and you know, number one, you want to change your lifestyle and your health and your things for your family. Well, number one, go back to your waters, get your hydration in order. So do you have a pre-filter? Do you have a device that can actually restructure the water to a negative charge? Are you working with proper minerals? Let's start there. Then we can go into superfoods, immune foods, herbalism, you know, all these other things. But let's get this hydration. And again, it's the Western way to just complicate the most simple, basic, worldly, beautiful thing. And the main reason that we work with the companies we work with is because they're based out of, they have like a Japanese philosophies, which are a beautiful blend of, so they're basing their science around their connection and love for water and the natural world. So that's why, you know, they're advanced in a lot of those areas historically. So yeah, that's my thoughts there.
so Nick, as you're saying this, I'm excited to be getting my Kangen water system because I am at a loss. You know, for the last year, I've been trying to figure this out, and it's like seriously, it's ridiculous. And so I know that source, universe, creator, energy, whatever connected us in this place in a much bigger unfolding, not only just for my personal sovereignty with water, but also to be able to share that message as a collective to the collective. And I asked for this a long time ago and I didn't even know it. I didn't even know this. When I was 5 years old, I was so excited about our well that we had access to. And I would just be like, the salamanders, we're close to the well. And my parents were like, don't tell anybody about the salamanders. And so I feel like right here, my 5-year-old self is saying, look at this. This is how we can connect with our well again. Like, I want to shout this to the mountaintops and to the rooftops, and what we've been experiencing in our conversations in Clubhouse has been profound. And I'm excited for this conversation, how this has happened. And what I just want to ask as we come to a close here, what did you notice in your life start to happen when you started to drink Kangen water? And I feel like you're going to talk about codes.
Okay, well, you said you're trying to wrap this up, so I don't know if that's another half hour.
So
here.
maybe just like the space. What I'm curious about is, okay, so I go to Whole Foods. I wanted to buy the best water, right? I know there's this mountain spring water I like, but it's like $3 for a glass bottle, right? That's not affordable to drink. I drink a lot of water, so I buy the Whole Foods green bottled water because I don't want to drink out of the tap, right? And so that truth, right? I felt like I was making a conscious decision for something that was good for my body. And it turns out it's okay, but it's not helping me to be sovereign.
Yeah. There's a major block with water, because we know when we touch water, taste it, primally we know excuse me, that if that is off, and that frequency is off, and that feeling is off, and that intuition is off, we stop drinking water. We just stop, because it's like the most basic thing. But if that basic thing isn't enjoyable, we stop. And I know people watching this later know this. And I know that we've all been in those areas in our life where we're traveling or we're just like, it's not, you just stop. And it's terrible, because so basically what happened to me is I just under physical, I'll get into the physical pieces, but what happened to me was that just pleasure and joy of knowing what it's like to truly feel hydrated and to truly taste good drinking water. I love spring water. I'm the same as you. I'll go hunt springs, find springs, test them, drink it, do all that. But if I have to have that in my house all the time now. So just to have that sovereignty and that feeling. So what happened to me metaphysically was I stopped looking out there for all these other things, material things. Like when you have the minerals and the nourishment and nutrition you need inside the most special thing we own, this thing right here, we stop looking out there. So metaphysically, I was like, okay, I feel how I want to feel. So you stop looking, you stop chasing, you stop, wanting, because my basic needs were being met. When I didn't have that, and I haven't quenched my thirst, so to speak, I'm seeking other things. And in the very beginning of the conversation, you talked about how we resist the flow. So how many of you guys have ever, you're sitting there, you're thirsty, and you're like, you need a glass of water, and you just don't do it. You're like, I don't feel like it. Or when you need to take a deep breath, you stop. You're like, I'm going to punish myself for some weird reason and not do this, even though it's all I need. So again, as humans, we get in our own way, all these different ways. So now the new pattern is, so because I have higher quality water, I actually don't need to drink as much, because my body's regulated properly. So physically, what happened to me was the two most important things, 2 or 3 most important things, which is got my colon basically rehydrated. So, I mean, we all know gut health is number 1. My mind, my brain rehydrated. You can literally feel it when you're drinking good water. So the gut and the brain are connected. And we have 3 hearts, right? We have the gut, the heart, and the mind. And those actually become synchronized with proper minerals. And then the other most important thing is in our organ systems is our adrenals and cortisol. So if you take those 3 things and you manage those, that's 90% of illness is gut health, adrenal issues, organ systems, mental. So that's it. So if you take care of, there's lots of other things, obviously, but I'm just saying the basics of. So I just had this like rebirth of. And then you obviously stop reaching for like dead calories, or you stop reaching for sugary things, which we know are just filling voids of taste. And we start to retrain our taste buds. And every time I, step into the ocean, step into the river, that just my connection to that, the healing aspects of water outside of me is even more special too. So, we literally need to quench our thirst and most of us don't even know what that feels like. Most of us have never, most of us don't know when we eat a bitter food that's actually medicine. Most of us are in the Western world, we're so programmed. Okay, well, where's the sugar hit? So same thing with water. When you're actually drinking water, you can actually feel the external world it's not as important.
Yes. It's bringing it back to the core. Core health, core vitality. I mean, as you're sharing all that, I can just feel, I can feel it sinking in. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the awareness of what sovereignty is here in this conversation with you. I'm grateful the awareness of the codes and the places of the 3 hearts, all of this, and you feel all of this connection so deeply, Nick. So you're a gift to this place of the elements. You're a gift to the ancestors, to people now, today. You're a gift for sharing your voice here in this platform. And I just what's the best way to reach out? Obviously, I'm really excited for my my water to start really opening up with Kangen, to see the changes that I'm going to start to feel in my body. I am excited. And it's, after being a nomad, traveling with not very much and having, just okay, bouncing here, bouncing there, going here, doing this, being in flow, right? Last year I was forced to slow down and stop. And so now it's readjusting and finding, okay, what are the ways of flow that I want to flow? How do I want to flow? How do I want to access those places? So I feel like the water is the core of that. And I'm really grateful for this connection here.
Well said. Thank you. Yeah, it's just a beautiful bonus that it's just a beautiful blessing and bonus that there's, an opportunity to keep the intention. Obviously, you got to crack the code. So you got to keep the intention, support myself, support others, in health and wealth, something you believe in, and you make the money. And I've never worked with a system or like an engine like this before. So just how you can connect with me is, well, the company that I actually work with is called Enagic. So that actually means energy and magic combined. And when we speak about Kangen water, that actually means return to origin. So we're trying to emulate the origins of having what water should be like, in a hexagonal shape, negative charge, antioxidant rich. So to connect with me, I am a photographer full-time, actually a water photographer, surf photographer. That's where my love for this all came about, in the elements. So the best way to connect with me is just basically on my Facebook. So just my name down here, just search my name, connect with me, you'll see my page. And obviously I'm on Instagram, but I just go to my Facebook, everything funnels through there. You can see my website, my photography, and how I've interlaced my love for the natural world and, you know, my love for water, and I'm serving people in a way that is truly life-changing. And I can't think of anything more honorable to do. I'm super humbled and get to meet people like you. So yeah, I'm honored. I'm a teacher, just a humble observer of the natural world, and it's led me here. So yes, please connect with me and or both of us. And so yeah, just find me on the Facebook. I have an Instagram, but it's all there. So
and we're headed to Clubhouse here in a little bit. So
yeah.
What is your
Oh, yeah,
well,
yeah.
I'll put all that information. So all that information will be in the bio. So if you're listening to this as a podcast, you can see all of the places to connect with Nick. If this is in the Elemental Lifestyle Facebook private group, thank you for being in this space where you get to see us in the video. I am grateful. This is the real, this is the faces behind the music that we share on Clubhouse. So I am grateful for this conversation today, Nick. I appreciate you. I see you. I'm honored. And I am learning to be an observer just as you. And I'm grateful for all those who are also joining that path of being the observer in their sovereignty as well. So thank you.
I'm complete. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.